students. I am Linda Rost. I'm the 2020 Montana Teacher of the Year, and I'm friends with your teacher. And I wanted to share this research presentation with you. This is a teacher that teaches in my school. Her name is Mrs. Boggs, and her 7th grade life science class did a project learning about COVID-19 and how it's affected our country, our state, and our town. She teaches at Baker Junior High in Baker, Montana. And this is her classroom. So you can see that the students are spaced out. They're watching a virtual speaker. So we had somebody come in and speak to her class, a scientist. And as you listen to this presentation, I want you to think about maybe doing a similar research project where you learn about how COVID-19 has affected your country and your region and your town maybe. And then maybe you could make a presentation like this and share it with other people, or maybe even share it with us. We would love to learn about you and how COVID-19 has affected you as well. So each student chose a topic, they found information, they put it on a slide, and then they recorded themselves presenting it. So here they are.
The United States is the 3rd largest country in the world with about 331 million people. Most of the population is living on the east and west coast.
The population in the U.S. is not evenly distributed. You can see on this map that most of our population is on the east and west coast. There is also an increase in population around the cities in the interior of the U.S., such as Chicago, Dallas, and Denver.
We are talking about COVID-19 in the U.S.
As you can see, there's a darker color in the most populated states.
The lighter the color, the less cases the state has. The darker the color, the more cases it has. The total cases is 15,932,116 counted so far. Total deaths so far is 296,818.
This map shows the status of COVID-19 cases in the last 7 days.
This slide shows that the race in the U.S. and the percentage of the races in the U.S. The largest ethnic group is white Caucasian, white with Hispanic and African American being the 2nd and 3rd largest groups.
This map shows where the ethnic groups are striped with the United States. In the southwestern portion of the United States, there's a large Mexican, American, and Latino population. In the southeastern corner, we see a higher African American population.
Map shows the percent of poverty in the U.S. The age group with the highest rate living in poverty is ages 18 through 24 with a rate of 17.1%. The lowest poverty rate is found in people ranging from ages 65 to 74 years old. Nationally, 12.4% of the U.S. residents are considered to live in poverty.
The top 3 states that are in poverty are Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado. The average racial composition of neighborhoods where whites live different from the average racial composition of neighborhoods lived in by Blacks, Hispanics, or other groups.
Unemployment rate in the United States is rising as COVID-19 puts many people out or working fewer hours due to closures. In many regions, workers have started working at home in an attempt to keep their jobs. The current unemployment rate nationwide is astronomical compared to the former rates.
The pandemic has definitely made tons of people lose jobs. African Americans are at a record high in job loss. This record was achieved in October and November of 2019, when unemployment among African American workers rose from 5.1%. The previous record high was 5.2%. The current rate now is 16.8%, which is more than twice the unemployment rate in the past. On a positive note, these rates are steadily declining. However, with COVID-19, it may take time since we are still in a pandemic. Make sure to follow the safety guidelines and stay safe.
Montana is located in the northern U.S. right along the Canadian border. Montana is the 4th largest state as far as total acreage, but the total population is just over 1 million, according to the 2010 census.
This graph is a breakdown of the different races in Montana. The largest is the ethnic group is white Caucasian, with Hispanic and American Indian ethnic groups being the 2nd and 3rd largest. Most of Montana's indigenous people population can be found on one of Montana's 7 reservations. Montana's smallest ethnic group is African American.
The total number of COVID-19 deaths in Montana is 818 as of December 14th. The main cause of death in Montana in 2017 was heart disease with 2,347 deaths. The graph on the top right is showing the leading cause of death in Montana for 2017.
The other map is showing the counties with the most COVID-19 deaths. Notice how counties with larger populations have the most deaths. The darker the color, the more deaths the county has.
This map shows how many cases there are in each country. The darker the color, the more COVID-19 cases. For instance, Billings, Montana has the most COVID-19 cases, therefore the darker it will be.
This map talks about the population of COVID-19 in every state. It shows that the states with more people have more cases. The darker the state, the more COVID. The lighter the state, the less COVID. Located on the southeastern corner of Montana, about 14 miles from North Dakota border. The climate in Baker is around 86 degrees in the middle of the summer and gets low as 7 degrees in January. Because Baker is usually windy, the temperatures often feel much colder than that. One of the main features we have is a man-made lake in the middle of our town. In the summer, many people enjoy swimming, boating, or fishing in it, and in the winter, you often see people who are ice fishing. Fallon County has a low population. The average family income is higher than the average rates in both Montana and U.S. The graph on the right shows the breakdown of the different race and ethnic groups in the county. As you can see, Baker really lacks in racial diversity, with white Caucasian is the largest population.
Total number of killed cases is 226. The first case of coronavirus was on July 10, 2020. A major spike happened from the beginning of November to the end. If you look at the chart, the blue line is active cases and the orange line are the total cases. The chart was last updated on November 17th.
Most people get COVID from household contact, meaning their family members have it so then they can get it too. The next most frequent way to get it is from being around other people that have it in the community. You also have a higher chance of getting COVID when you're in direct contact with someone who's been infected. About 9% of cases have been from traveling or contracting the virus outside of Fallon County. When you are in a cluster of people, that may also increase your chances of getting it. One of the least likely ways to get the virus would be from your healthcare providers.
This graph shows the rate of COVID-19 in congregate settings. Congregate means gathering of mass crowds, where the social distancing can be hard or even impossible to maintain. As you can see, school grades K through 12 and universities have some of the largest transmission rates. Congregate settings may increase the spread of COVID-19 in all subjects you see.
This slide is about COVID-19 cases in Montana schools. In high school, grades 9 through 12 have one of the highest infection rates for COVID-19. There have been 1,066 students and staff members infected. Elementary school or grades K through 5 come in second with 1,103 positive cases of students and staff. To date, the least infected grade levels is middle school with 724 positive students or staff members, and finally school students that are under investigation is 276. The staff who are under investigation is 358, and the total cases in the school is 701. Here's the total: 966 for staff, 2,561 for students, and 3,594 for schools.
School precautions in our county.
Baker High School has taken many precautions to slow the spread of COVID-19 and prevent the school being shut down.
We all have to take precautions, wiping down desks, wearing masks, and social distancing. And with the recent spike in cases in Fallon County, we have been required to wear masks during the day and in public.
We made a form asking what people like least.
These were the results.
16.7% said they like social distancing the least, while 55.6% said wearing masks, and 27.8% said quarantine.
The precautions we're taking to deal with COVID-19 in our school. When we cannot social distance, we're wearing our masks at all times. When class ends, we spray on the desk and the chairs to disinfect. Every time we enter or exit a classroom, we're using hand sanitizer. And when coaches are coaching at game or practice, they need to wear their masks, and players have to in huddles or on the bench.
Some of the main ways to prevent COVID is by washing your hands or using hand sanitizer frequently throughout the day. Another way is when you are in public, do not touch your face because of the germs on your hands. When you wear a mask, you can prevent the spread by making sure it covers your nose and your mouth. When you have COVID, make sure to social distance and stay at home away from everyone. If you want to be extra cautious, you can do curbside pickup by ordering online and then picking it up. After you go into public and leave the store, you should use a hand sanitizer. You can also hand sanitize highly touched areas with Clorox wipes and
ways to slow the spread. We all know we have to wear a mask, but why is that? Well, it's because of COVID-19, which I'm sure you guys have already guessed, but there's more to it than that. COVID is a respiratory disease, and that leads to coughing, which is a very effective way to transmit. Masks. Masks have been the most used and wide-known way of stopping the virus. For a long time, worn by many workers in the medical field, used for preventing transmission of the virus while in close proximity. Now used all around the hope of preventing the spread of COVID. Social distancing. Social distancing has also been advertised all around promoting social distancing. COVID, while it can reach greater distances than 6 feet, it still can lower the risk of getting the disease. Self-quarantine. People in Montana were told to self-quarantine in late March. But what does quarantine mean? Quarantine is when someone isolates themselves to help slow the spread or flatten the curve. Quarantine has been really helpful since it limits contact in a person with COVID or a contact of one. That way, they can't give it to anybody else.
Thank you all so much for listening to these student presentations, and I hope you'll have a chance to do something similar and maybe share it with us.